So I made my opinion known on Spider-Man in the past, but I'm going to give you a little rundown real quick before I get into my video topic today. Now, I did not like Spider-Man PS4. Just didn't find it that great of a game. I thought the story was average. I really wanted to see the Sinister Six for the first time on video game or movie be portrayed by more iconic team up of the characters. I thought that the characters Mr. Negative was a really weird choice. He hadn't been in the six before. So here we are again, looking at this situation, not knowing really why he was added. I didn't like his character. I didn't like his character when he was incepted or he was created. Just don't find him entertaining. So there was my first problem with the game, and it hit me right away, glaring issue. Next problem was the boss fights were absolutely atrocious. They were not boss fights. They were quick-timed events just hidden under cutscenes. They never specifically... Well, no, they did kind of tell you the buttons to hit. They were quick-time events. The whole boss fight was a quick-time event for every single one. You never felt like you actually had control over the things going on. It was just garbage. Every single boss fight in that game is garbage, except for maybe the Taskmaster one, because that was finally a boss fight that actually gave you some ability to fight the boss other than waiting for a scripted moment so that it could cut you into a really cool transition. Because if there's something the game did right, it was its really good transitions from gameplay to cinematics. The next thing I had a problem with was, why are we using goddamn gadgets? Now, I know Spider-Man uses gadgets, and I'm completely cool with gadgets being initiated into the game to really, build the gameplay, more to the gameplay loop. But when you're relying on gadgets like you're fucking Batman, it isn't a Spider-Man game. Which layers on top of the fact that there wasn't a ton of animations for the combat, so the combat felt more of a goddamn crappy Arkham Knight clone than an actual Spider-Man game. I found very few, I got so sick of the combat that I just kind of resorted to pulling people off of buildings. And there was whole missions where that was the objective in that area, was to yank people off of buildings, because I'm pretty sure they knew that their combat wasn't that in depth. Now, the only thing that I really thought that was okay in the game was the swinging, because it felt really good. But that's a priority in a Spider-Man game. And that's something that Insomniac has proven that they can do before with, whatever that other game is. Their Jet Set Radio type game. It doesn't matter. I can't remember the game. Somebody let me know in the comments. What's that game? Also, like while you're down there. Dislike. I don't care. And subscribe to my channel. That's an obvious one. But it was one of those things that the whole game felt more like Arkham, or it was a Spider-Man Arkham clone. Or it was like a Arkham. Somebody bought Arkham and modded it to be a Spider-Man game. Threw in some sunshine. Removed all the dark, gritty stuff from Batman. And here we are today. That is my problem. I felt like a lot of the older games did it a lot better, especially in terms of combat. And, you kind of had Spider-Man burnout in the Activision years. There was always a Spider-Man game coming up, and now we have the one type of Spider-Man game. And it's running the same story. It's going to be the same combat. And it's in a different direction. I know a lot of people think it's a lot better, and that's the recency bias, I guess, and also the fanboy mentality really running on that as well. Not to mention the Spider-Man's a lot bigger IP than it was kind of back then, because even though the Spider-Man movies back then were really popular, compared to now where the MCU really blew the screen wide open, even though the MCU hasn't really made a great movie in a while. The last Spider-Man movie was pretty good, and then Black Panther I thought was okay. But for the most part, it's kind of been hit or miss. So even though they're kind of on their downward slide, they still have a real stronghold in relevancy. And at that time, they were kind of just becoming relevant. So I kind of see this area where a lot of people are like, I'm just getting into Spider-Man. I watched all the newer Spider-Man movies. I can play the games, or the Sony games. And then you also have that fanboy mentality jumping on there. A lot of people are liking more the more cinematic style of game, so that real heavy cinematic cut transitions. It's more quick time eventy. It's less of a video game where you have control and more of an on-rails experience. I feel like those games have been kind of pushed to the forefront, even though that's not my type of game. I will never like a game like that. Give me fucking control. That's why I'm playing a video game. If I want to watch the movie, one of the movies, there's like there's 5 live no, there's more than 5. There's there's 6, 8 live action movies, 9 if you want to count like 9 to 12 or something, if you want to count where Spider-Man showed appearances in the MCUs. And then there's 2 really, really great animated movies. I haven't seen the second one, so I don't know if it's that great. But from what I've heard, Into the Spider-Verse 2 is fantastic. Now, I see that, and I'm like, okay, I can watch these movies, but I want to play a game. I want combat. I want to be able to throw cars. I want to be Spider-Man. I want to, like, pull a car into enemy and stuff like that. And that, I really never got that in the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 or Miles Morales. I never got that. Even though Miles Morales did have some crowd control stuff, which was really lacking in the first game, it still couldn't grab my attention. It felt very Ubisoft open world like. And I see this, and I look at what kind of the landscape we're in right now with this crazy fanboyism boiling up to a point on the internet where it's just like people are trying to fight Starfield versus Spider-Man or Starfield versus Baldur's Gate. You got the Nintendo guys like, we had Tears of the Kingdom. It's better than both of those. And for me, I see this, and it goes back to my video yesterday. If you didn't check it out, it's my last video. Go take a peek. But I see this type of bouncing back off top of each other, and I just think it's stupid. Now, for me, I will probably end up playing Spider-Man 2 eventually. Now, I didn't like the first 2, so it's really not my game. Now, Baldur's Gate I found pretty interesting until I learned that you can have a romance with a fucking bear. I don't care if you can turn into a bear. If you're out there fucking an animal that has like the intelligence of a rock, you're just molesting them at that point. There's other words for it, but I am not going to say those and get my channel taken down because YouTube isn't as safe of a place as it was back in like 2016. So I see stuff like that and it makes me not want to play Baldur's Gate. That has nothing to do with... I mean, it could be a great game. I'll probably still give it a chance. I just won't have sex with a bear, and anybody who's going to do that is a fucking freak. But I see stuff like this, and I'm like, oh, cool, we got games coming out. And I own both. I own both Xbox and PlayStation. I own Nintendo. I own them all because I like playing video games. I'm not going to shackle myself to one platform like a goddamn nut job. Even though I am a crazy person, I am not willing to, like, limit myself on the fun that I can have because I'm brand loyal. Or I'm just, like, this consumer bot loser that a lot of people are. And I've had people jump in my comics. You go on Twitter for 5 minutes and you will see the insane nut jobbery from these people who call themselves objective, but then they only shit on one console or the other. So for me, I'm looking at the end of the year with like, I'll wait till Spider-Man gets on sale. Baldur's Gate, I'm playing Diablo 4, so I'm probably not going to jump into Baldur's Gate. Starfield, I love Bethesda games. I've always loved Bethesda games, so I'm going to play that game. Tears of the Kingdom, it is going to be my trip game. When I'm on a plane or anything else, that is when I use my Switch the most, is when I am not home. So I play my Switch games then. And it also is a good way for me to catch up on games that maybe I had downloaded on my Xbox and they're also on the Switch. And I'm like, I really don't put time into this game. But I like the game. I'll play it on a trip. And I think that is the real way to be copacetic. I really have never liked this. Let's compare games that should have nothing to do with each other against each other just because they're on competing platforms. It really bothers me. But I figured I'd air out some of my Spider-Man grievances while I was here too, now that I've had a few more followers. And when Spider-Man comes out, they're like, why aren't you playing Spider-Man day one? One, motherfucker, I will probably be in the middle of moving. 2, I didn't really like the first 2 games that much, so I'm going to miss that one. But hell, I might have a capture card by then, and I'll play all the ones that I do like. I'll go hunt down, because I used to have copies of a lot of the old ones, but right now I only have Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the original Xbox era, the PS2 era. And for me, I don't like going too far back on retro games, like buying retro games, like in consoles. So I only have my original Xbox, my Xbox 360. Eventually, I'm gonna get a PS3 because there was a couple games that I really wanted to play on the PS3, and streaming them on their goddamn streaming service is an absolute nightmare, and it's definitely not even worth it. And so I look at kind of like those Spider-Man games, and I want to kind of build up that collection. Even though those games are pretty expensive, it kind of goes into this whole like IP argument that as you can get a movie from the Fox era, or you can get a movie from way back in the day. There's only been a few movies that have been locked up, like Dogma and some others that are hard to get because the studio shut them down. But for the most part, almost every movie is readily available. But for some reason, video games get locked back in time, and I think that's just super unfair. Emulation needs to be hitting these console fronts a lot harder, especially when the PC guys are playing whatever the hell they want, anytime they want. And that really bothers me because I look at games like Wind Waker, and I'm never going to get to play that because I'm waiting on Nintendo to make a port. And my wife's Wii U that she had when we first got together that she never played, that she lent to somebody, and then she got it back and went to play it, and it didn't work, and so it's sitting in a box in our goddamn coat closet. And I'm like, wow, I'd love to get that thing working so I could play Wind Waker, but it's probably never going to happen. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. It's a little bit longer video today. I just kind of wanted to air some stuff out with, I don't even know what I want to make for that. Usually I make the thumbnail before I make these videos. Something catchy and eye-grabbing and just bullshit on the screen, but today I just wanted to rant in front of the camera, to be honest with you. It was just one of those that I wanted to talk. And I'm going to be gone for a couple days. I'm not going to post a video until probably Monday. I usually, when I go on a trip, except for my wedding where I took a week off, I will make 3 videos on... Oh, I'm only missing one day. What the fuck am I talking about? This is a video for tomorrow, so I'm just not posting a video on Sunday. I'm missing one day. So if you can survive for one day without me, I think you'll be fine. Tomorrow I'm going to be in a concert. I'm going to see Hank Williams Jr. live in Auburn, Washington. It's going to be really sick because I love Hank Jr. Unless it's not sick and he's just old and he like dies on stage or something. He's just like a country boy can't... and it dies on stage. That wouldn't be really sick. I mean, it would be one of those moments that I would tell my kids, yeah, I saw Hank Jr. die on stage. But it wouldn't be like... Oh, dude, this one time, fucking saw Hank Jr. die, dog. Fucking, he was there, he was playing his guitar, and then he just fucking yeeted, bro. It's not gonna be like that. I mean, I don't want him to die because he's one of my favorite artists of all time, so I really hope it's a great concert. Yeah, maybe I'll update you on it, but anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. I love you, I guess. I love you as much as a fucking... guy behind the camera can love somebody they've never met before, so not very much, but I hope you enjoy the content. I'm out.